Scarberry, and we're all out here supporting him today because of the problem with custody of his children. You want to explain a little about that, please?
Sure. On November 8th, Judge Newman and Commissioner Parental signed into order a custody dispute awarding my ex-wife sole custody, listing several things, but mainly focusing on the fact that I was agnostic, and so that's why we're out here, because I've had my kids 50-50 joint custody for almost the last 4 years. I've had a great relationship with them. I've never intervened in any type of religious training that they started in the beginning of our divorce, and yet the judge felt like it was necessary to single out the fact that I was agnostic as a reason to remove the children from my custody.
And that was a joint custody situation?
That was a joint custody, joint physical and legal custody.
So how much do you actually get to see your children now under the present order?
Right now, we're under the minimum, the Indiana Parenting Time Guidelines, which is 4 hours a week and every other weekend, which is a huge change for myself and my children after being so used to every other 2 days and every other weekend, literally 50-50 right down the line.
And so we want to clarify this. You did have full joint custody originally, right?
Yes, I did.
And then this happened.
Yes.
And you feel like it was mainly because of the change in your religious views?
Oh yes, yes. They brought up a few other issues in the order. However, we were able to produce a substantial amount of evidence and proof against the allegations that were made, as well as bringing up our own evidence and of the situation, showing that I did not allow my personal position to interfere or create any type of conflict that would warrant a change in the physical and legal custody that I had. However, the judge, in 2 different points in the bullets, decided to point out that my agnosticism was a problem, without listing on how it was a problem for the children. According to the Indiana Code, there needs to be a substantial change for the children, and there was not a substantial change. However, my personal religious preference was singled out.
And as I understand it, you have continued to let them attend a Christian daycare and go to church and everything with their mother, and haven't interfered with them.
That's correct. They continued to go to a Christian daycare that I had to agree to over the last 4 years. They also not just went to church with their mother, but on my weekends, not every weekend, but there were certainly many weekends where they went to church with my mother, who goes to a service regularly. I allowed them to go to things like church camp, special church functions, things that I even took them to. So, you know, I was trying to be as compromising as possible to maintain my time with my children.
And I believe the Indiana law says something about the parents cooperating on several different things, their education, health care. It does mention religion.
Yes, that's
But
correct.
what, cooperating in their training, I think, or something is
it's about
similar wording of that.
Right. It's about being able to agree on medical, educational, and religious training. And because I was a professed Christian at the time of our divorce, that was what we started our children in, which is why I went above and beyond to continue their religious training in the Christian faith, because of the fact that I wanted to maintain that contact with my kids.
Right, and so clearly you have not, now you've filed an appeal.
Yes, that's correct. December 1st, we filed the intent to appeal, and since then, the ACLU has taken up my representation.
Oh, they have? I
yes.
didn't know that. They have decided to represent you?
Yes, Ken Falk from the ACLU is representing me on my appeal, and that, along with Stuart Showalter, who is here today. He's the executive director of the Indiana Custodial Rights Advocacy Group, and he has also been helping me with paperwork and helping me understand Indiana code and where the judges has misstated and misinterpreted laws.
Okay, well, I'm glad you have that support. Now, do you think...
Yeah, I'm Stuart Showalter. I'm the Executive Director of Indiana Custodial Rights Advocates, and we're an organization that works to ensure that children have access to both parents and inform legislators, other policymakers, child custody issues. Certainly have tried to help teach judges the law.
And I read a piece you wrote on your blog about this case and relating to some other cases. Would you like to just sort of outline how this case fits in where
what I was
what
I was discussing there was how Magistrate Parental had misinterpreted the law, and Judge Newman, who ultimately had to sign off on the order. I was going to start out my blog posting by saying that Judge Newman was an intolerant religious bigot, and I contacted his court staff and solicited a response or comment from him. And he did have Judge Parental call me, who's the son of Commissioner Parental that wrote the ruling. He and I discussed it for about 10 minutes, and I was unable to get him to understand that the joint custody statute, which says that the parents shall equally be responsible for determining the health care, education, and religious upbringing of the children, applied to the children, not to the parents. That Craig and his ex-wife, they can have religious beliefs that vary widely. They can have views on vaccinations that may be at the opposite end of the spectrum. As long as that does not... Indiana has the risk of harm or actual substantial harm to the child standard for modifying custody. In the case of the joint legal custody, it would need to be shown that a disagreement about their health care, education, or religious issues would then have the risk of or been shown to substantially harm the child. In Craig's case, nothing had changed with the children. They were still attending the same Christian daycare. They were still going to church on Sundays with Craig's mom. And the order, the findings in the order, which in all my years of doing this are probably about the worst findings I've ever seen, clearly made no mention of the best interests of the children, made no mention of how Craig's changing his religion from Christian to agnostic had any effect on the children, let alone a substantial and continuing negative impact on the children. So it's clearly an unconstitutional order. We did get the Indiana Civil Liberties Union to take on the case.
I didn't know that, but I'm glad to hear
It should no doubt be overturned. We're quite confident that'll happen.